I'm going to show you exactly how Cardinal Mason generates over $500,000 per month in profit from his online info coaching business, and exactly how you, as either an online coach or creator, can copy this and implement this into your own business to generate the same results. And I'm going to break this down in a very simple 3-step process that first starts off with generating traffic, then nurturing that traffic, and then converting that traffic into buyers. So let's take a look at how he's generating traffic right now. So he has 2 ways, organic and ads. And he spent a ton of money on ads. But before we go ahead and break that down, I want you to understand his organic first, because it directly feeds into his ad strategy. So let's take a look. So he has 3 channels right now: Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. With his Instagram right now, he has 132,000 followers, a very decent following. That's automatically going to build him as an authority figure and allows him to also further push his videos. So if you come to his page, immediately you're greeted by these 3 pinned posts. And what they do is show off his lifestyle and therefore build authority. Like, seeing him traveling, seeing him with others in the club, with other famous people in the club. But also he shares a photo of him from the past as well. And this is him in McDonald's, in the trenches, as you can see here. Like, very much, someone that isn't very rich. But then contrastingly, him in a Ferrari, right? And the reason why this is so effective is because it shows that he isn't special. It shows that he's come from nothing to something. And that immediately captivates attention, and people will feel inclined to listen to him because he's become someone that was relatively relatable. Someone that's an average person, not done anything crazy, to doing something crazy. And this is going to build intrigue and interest immediately. So very effective there. So if we actually look at the type of reels that he's posting, he's opting in for the very effective strategy at the moment, the raw head talking style videos. And we've seen these being extremely effective with Brez, TGR, Shelby Slap, all creators doing $1 million plus per month, because they're extremely refreshing, right? There's so many kind of guru-like videos that you can see where they have fancy captions, fancy editing, fancy angles, lighting, all of this and all of that. But what's most effective, what people like these days, is just simply hit record, talk to the camera, because it just feels like you're building a very natural connection, almost like you're on a FaceTime call with the person that's watching the video. So a very effective format of filming the videos. Then in terms of what he's actually recording in them, he's doing a mix of lifestyle and just kind of like random thoughts, right? So for example, if you look at this, he says, when my nephew asked me to use my 6,000 square foot penthouse for his high school graduation party, he has a pool, by the way. Just purely flexing in this. And as you can see, this went viral. This generated him 112K views. And then he's also like just yapping about random thoughts, like new Bieber album saved the world, I think. You know what I mean? Like, he's not actually giving any value here. He's just providing his thoughts, in an authentic way. And all of which is of the aim of going viral. And the reason why is because for anyone to actually buy from us, they first need to know, like, and trust us. And what this is doing by going viral is getting people to actually first know who he is. Because, if we don't get our name out there, then no one's going to even get to the point where they can trust us. So he starts off with the reels to do this. So very, very effective indeed. Now, if you ever look at his highlights as well, he has 2 highlights. This is where he actually provides some value. So on the Get Clients page, he has basically like a story sequence where, you're about to get source on how to do outbound to get clients for copywriting AI, and basically just gives a bit of value, how to pitch, how to take sales calls, who to outreach to. And then he has a call to action at the end to DM you, because the setter will then kind of qualify you and book you in a process. And I'll break that down in just a second. But then also, if we look at his one-on-one coaching page, he basically breaks down his entire offer, what you get inside, one-on-one calls, 3 weekly group calls, any help that you need will hold you hand, and then a ton of results, right? Results are incredibly important because they show that what you're doing actually works and it's worked for other people. Then he has a small CTA, and then again, a ton more of results. So this is really effective because, again, you just come straight to his page, you can see some value, you can see some results, which is going to encourage people to take a look at buying his offer. So he also has CTAs as well. And the thing with CTAs that I forgot to mention is it's really important that you don't over-rinse these. And Cardinal Mason's very effective at this. Like, he doesn't do what I see a lot of creators doing, where they'll have some story sequence every other week and they'll just be pushing to their audience. And the reason why this isn't good is because you're building resistance with your audience. And you don't want to do this because they're going to get tired of being sold to. So it's very important that if you do a sequence and you do call to action your audience, you do it very subtly and you do it very infrequently. And so, but when he does do them, they are quite effective. So occasionally in his videos, right, he'll have a CTA, like as you can see here, comment Claude, and I'll show you what I did. Not that hard, an AI switch job, and how he made, like 51K last month with it. And so pretty much after you've commented on this and you kind of message him, you'll then receive this automated message with the actual value to this free training. I'll break this down in a second as well. And then pretty much from here, DM seller will start to engage a conversation. And I went ahead and actually broke this entire process down because I think there's a couple of things that Mason could definitely improve with his setters here. So first of all, this is the kind of inbound message I gave to him to trigger the response. Then this was like an automated message, what's up? I feel like this could be improved because it feels very, very much like an automated message. Like the fact that there's back-to-back questions like this isn't really natural. It might seem natural when you read it out, but it doesn't come across as natural when you're reading it. So I think you make this more like a, yo, what's up, man? Appreciate you reaching out. Just curious what kind of got you into copywriting in the first place. So something more basic to build rapport, because he's kind of going straight into building goals. Because to give you guys an idea of what it should really look like, you have like an initial outbound message like I just showed you, and then you want to build rapport and qualify via location, because you want to make sure you're not talking to someone from a third world country that is a waste of your time and can't afford your program. So by doing this, you're kind of qualifying early on. Then you want to find a goal. And then you want to find the pain that's stopping them from getting there and building that gap, pretty much, like building that gap that's stopping them from getting there. And then with that, adding commitment and urgency, so it's not like you're pushing them into booking in a call. They are asking us to book in a call, pretty much. So look, that's pretty much like something like, is this something you've been trying to focus on for a while? Has this been going, something that's been going to continue to happen in the next 6 months from now? Do you want help with this? And then you pitch the call. You book the call, and then you send the post-booking assets as well. But if we have a look at what he's been doing here, there's not a lot of urgency being built up. Like this response was a lot better. Like he does ask my goal, but there wasn't enough kind of report built up before that. And then funnily enough, he actually kind of forgot to respond to me. Like he literally said that it's doable, that I want to reach 7K, 10K a month to quit my job. And he doesn't follow up with the question. If you just reply like that and with no question, then someone has it's very easy for someone to just leave that on open and not reply. So he kind of forgot to reply there, so that's not really good. Maybe it was just this one-off conversation, but definitely needs to make sure it's set as a dialed with that. As you can see, the guy says, sorry, bro, swiped off on a combo. Then he kind of says, how long have you been looking to replace that income? Building a little bit of urgency, because then it worked much more effectively. But what wasn't great was that he just kind of pitched straight away. Like he used a voice note, which is very, very effective, because this actually can get people to believe that they are actually talking to the creator, to Cardinal Mason. So we have this with some of our clients as well, where you basically just record pre-recorded voice notes that relate to some part of the appointment setting process. And pretty much this was like a pitch voice note. And I didn't like that he did this early, because there wasn't enough kind of rapport and pain built up. He kind of just threw it in there straight away. So I think he could have done this a bit later on down the line, but definitely an effective strategy for sure. So pretty much that's what his strategy will look like regarding DMs and CTAs. They'll have a setter that will reply to these messages and then eventually book them in. And I will break down how that booking in process looks like. But yeah, that's pretty much what that looks like there. So he does also run some CTAs to his webinars that he runs, but he doesn't really spam these like crazy. But when he does have them, he does put them out on his story. So that's his Instagram. So let's now take a look at his TikTok. So he has 400,000 followers, a very, very decent amount. And again, this is only going to help him build authority and push his videos further. So when you come straight to his page, he has pinned posts again. And all of what these do is show the authority he has in this, just like in the other ones. But he actually talks about how you can make money with copywriting, how he did it, how he escaped his 9-to-5 of doing it. And, a ton of views like this really shows off his authority, and makes it very easy to understand what he does as soon as you come to his page. Then if we look at the actual videos he's posting, it's pretty much the same as his Instagram, just like head style, raw talking head style videos. He does post about once a day. He could be more consistent with this, because I've seen guys like TJ and Brez do this, and they're insanely consistent, like multiple times per day. So he should definitely try and ramp this up if he can. And yeah, pretty much just the same content. There's some like variations where he'll just use like trending TikTok sounds again, just to go viral, because he wants to generate leads, generate views for his name, and then funnel these guys to his webinars and to his offer. So that's what he's doing on his TikTok. But if we have a look at his YouTube, a lot of this traffic will eventually get to this part, because, like I said before, you need to know, I need to like, and you need to trust. So what the YouTube will do is get the like and trust phase really dialed in. And the reason why is because YouTube is the highest quality of traffic, because the videos are longer, right? If you look at these videos, 17 minutes, 18 minutes, 23 minutes, they're much, much, much longer. They're consuming more from you. And as a result, they will naturally like you and trust you more when you're providing the right type of value. So he is not just providing value content, he's providing a mix, because this is very important that you don't only do one of the value, one of the lifestyle. You have to do a mix of them, because if let's say you only post lifestyle content, you only post vlogs, then you're just going to be a commodity. Same with if you only post value. People are not going to like you as a person, because you're just someone that just gives a bunch of value and value and value. Some people will buy from you, don't get me wrong. But to have a lot of people buy from you, if they love you, they trust you, and they like you, then they're always going to buy from you. So he does this very effectively with 3 different types of content: top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom funnel content. So the top of funnel content is basically the lifestyle stuff, taking a PJ to Miami, millionaire week in the life in Tulum. This is just going to appeal to that wider audience and bring people into his page. And then from there, he has value content. So he's actually breaking down how he's going to make 6 figures, how you can with AI, how AI makes him 8K a month, how you can get your first AI copywriting client, and how AI is, he's really giving value in these videos. And then he also has testimonial videos as well, which show off like results from his students and are more closer to that bottom of the funnel, because they're more direct to the audience, the person watching that video, that he's going to be selling you something. But he also does post raw and authentic videos, which again make him seem like he's a genuine person. Like as you can see here, 12 life lessons from a 25-year-old millionaire. This was quite a raw video where he just kind of broke down his journey and what he's learned along the way. So kind of making sure that he's a real person, not just a guru. So very effective there indeed. Now, he also makes appearances on other platforms, and we've seen this with a bunch of other creators as well, and it's very, very effective because you're pretty much taking advantage of the other platform to reach to an even wider audience, because people will watch an audience for a certain reason, right? But if you can make an appearance on there, then you can take some of those viewers and put them into your own, make them become part of your own audience as well, which all in turn just increases that brand awareness and gets people to further know him so they can end up liking and trusting him and buying from him. I do think, though, overall on his YouTube, he has seemed to, 5 minutes ago, 2 weeks ago, he has seemed to start post more consistently. But as you can see here, 2 months, 4 months ago, he could definitely post at least once per week. And if he sticks this, and I recommend any creator does this, he could easily be generating an extra like 50, 100K a month, because these leads will be so much more warmer for his webinar, for his opt-in funnels. There'll be a higher chance they'll close, and there's just more leads that he'll generate if he posts consistently. So definitely think it's something he can improve there as well. That's pretty much all of his organic side of things. So yeah, let's now take a look at his ads. So he's running about 14 different types of ads at the moment. And he does run more when he's running a webinar, but he doesn't do this that frequently. He runs maybe a week, every 2 weeks, maybe once a month. But essentially he's running a mix of retargeting and cold ads to his webinars, to a webinar, and an opt-in page. Now let's have a look at the retargeting ads. And what they basically are, if you don't know, is they're just paid ads that you push towards people that already know who you are and already follow you. And the reason why these are so effective is because they're much cheaper than cold traffic, right? Because if they already know you, they only need to see a bit more content from you before they buy it. So you don't need to spend as much money pushing it to people and pushing it to as many people as possible, because, a couple of videos here and there that they consume will then mean they'll buy, and it means your ROAS, your return on your ad spend, will be a lot cheaper, will be a lot higher. But also what this does is it just nurtures your audience more. So it just throughout the whole ecosystem, it brings in more people, pushes them to certain parts of the funnel. It's really, really effective. So one of these retargeting ads here, as you can see, he actually had 8 different variations of this. But it was basically an objection handling ad for his existing audience, basically being like, well, why should you invest into my inner circle? What's the benefits of investing into mentorship? That kind of thing. So just kind of handling some common objections people might have, which is very effective indeed. But he is also posting a ton of cold ads, and he's really pumping these out, especially when he runs his webinars. And something to actually notice before we dive into them is who he's really targeting, because he's had his offer out for a couple of years now, but he very recently switched it to AI copywriting and really tried to go, to the mass, to the wider market. And the reason why this is so effective, and basically what this means is having a very wide TAM, is because if you have a wider total addressable market, you can reach more people and you can potentially make more money, right? It's not to say if you have a couple thousand people in your audience that you can't make a lot of money, but if you're reaching hundreds of thousands of millions of people, you're obviously going to make more money than reaching a couple hundred, right? And the way he's doing this is by targeting postgraduates and people that don't like their 9 to 5 and want to capitalize on AI. So he's hitting up those people that have just come out of university and college. They don't want to they're just starting a job out, but they realize that AI is this new thing and it might replace their job. Same with people that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. He's also targeting those people that hear about AI. They don't know what to do. They know that they can make money from it and they don't know how, and he offers that solution. So he's really effectively capitalizing on the whole market trend with AI right now. And as you can see here, look, new grads, listen up. There's a good chance that AI is already slashing your career opportunities. So he's literally building FOMO into these people that have just spent 4 years and a couple, 100,000 on their degree, that their AI is going to replace them. And he's providing a solution, breaking that fear and capitalizing on it. And he's basically making a video showing how AI copywriting is the best business model and how he's helped other people that are post-grad in that kind of 20, 21, 25-year-old age range in doing that. And then he also targets the older audience as well. So, imagine having a business partner that works for free, does 80% of the work for you, and you partner up with them. And he's basically, in this video, he targets people that have like a lower entry-level job that isn't really going to be replaced by AI. Like, he kind of calls out teachers or accountants, like not high-level people that could potentially get their jobs replaced by AI, and calls them out on how you're probably going to get your job replaced and why you should do AI copywriting instead. And basically all these ads are basically awareness and educational focused ads. So they're pretty much educating people on why AI copywriting is the best business model and what it is. He also slides in testimonials consistently throughout that. And what I notice is effective is he does it based on what ad is trying to target. So in this one, he's trying to target graduates, and the testimonials he's putting in them are actual graduates that he's gotten results for. So making it relatable to the people that he's targeting. The same with the older people that are 30, 40, 50. He had some like father that quit his job and went all in with AI copywriting, was in his like 40s or something like that, which again will relate to that ICP that he's trying to target. So very, very effective. The use of creating FOMO with AI and capitalizing on that market trend right now is very, very effective as well. Now, he is also running one static ad, which I thought was quite effective and shows off what I mean. So, he's got a middle-aged woman in this profile picture called Sharon, and it's basically a testimonial-based ad showing someone that she landed a client with, got a 13K month retainer, and this is basically going to appear on Facebook. And as you can imagine, Facebook people, the people that tend to use Facebook are, older people, 30, 40, 50, in their 60s, and they'll see this, they'll see that Sharon landed her own client, and they're going to be like, whoa, I need to do this as well. I need to capitalize on this whole AI trend, and it's actually something that she can do as well. So very, very effective ads that he's running. And pretty much he's directing all of this traffic to a couple of different places. So when he is running a webinar, he's directing both the paid and the organic traffic to this landing page here. But also when he's not running that, the organic traffic is always coming to this free landing page, free training landing page, and the paid ads are going to this one here. But I want to break down the webinar first because this is what's going to actually make him the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time possible. So pretty much if he's running his webinar, he'll be directing you to this page. And, it starts off very clearly stating, discover how hundreds of 9-to-5ers are supplementing or even replacing their income with AI copywriting. So he's reaching a massive market. Think about how many 9-to-5ers there are, millions of 9-to-5ers. And he's basically telling them you can replace your income with AI, capitalizing on that. And he makes it very clear that you don't need to have startup capital or any prior experience, really reaching a massive audience and making sure that they are at the right page. Then he has some kind of urgency, like a little menu here showing the signups are closing soon, building a bit of urgency to make sure people attend. And then he breaks down the benefits of the business model. And the reason why is because depending on how warm the traffic is, they'll need to have some level of education on what the business model is. So he breaks this down and why it's the most in-demand service, highest income per hour, how you can make this a side income or even make it a full-time thing. So again, reaching that audience that might have a 9-to-5 and might want to do this on the side. Has a couple of CTA buttons consistently throughout the page. And then he pretty much explains what you're going to get in the free class in the webinar. So you're going to basically understand how AI copywriting works, what tools you can use to do it, how to target a business, how to land your first client. And then again, another CTA towards that. And then a ton of testimonials. And these are really, really important because they just show off that he's helped a ton of people do it and that it means it can also work for other people as well. So once you actually click on this button, yes, I want to attend, you're then taken to this sign up registration page. And essentially it asks for your name, your email, and your phone number. And the reason why is with your emails, they obviously need to send you the invitation link to the call and also your SMS so that they can send you a reminder sequence both to your emails and SMS to really increase that sharp rate. And also because they'll have a sales team that will also call up these guys at the end of the webinar to kind of recoup them and book them in for calls. So very effective too there as well. So once you've kind of opted in and you've put in your details, you're then taken to this post-registration page, and it basically just says a quick 5-minute video to make sure you're prepared for the free class. And what it does is congratulates you on signing up, builds a bit of hype, and lets you know exactly how the webinar is going to work, tells you that you need to make sure that you stay focused throughout the video, throughout the webinar, and make sure that you actually show up and that you're not late, because obviously if you don't show up, then he's not going to make money, so he really tries to make sure you show up. And then he also makes them aware to look out for some emails again to make sure they do receive them and then do see the reminders. So quite effective, just sets the frame of the call of the webinar there. Then below that, he has some pre-handles some common objections. And I think this is really effective because a lot of this traffic could be cold and they might have a lot of current belief systems and that need being broken. And so he does this by saying, why should you start this now? If I'm not a great writer, can I even do this? How much time do I need to do this per week? Because some people might come into this thinking, I've got a busy 9-to-5. This probably isn't for me. And he makes this very clear this isn't. So quite effective in kind of making sure people will show up, that it is effective for them. This will increasing the sharp rate and also the engagement that people will have and even the close rate later down the line. Then to add to that, he has a bunch of in-depth testimonials. And what I mean by that is these are full-on videos, probably like 20 minutes long, where they're full-on interviews showing off the lifestyle and like really giving proof of concept to Mason's program and how it's so effective for people like Hannah, Amanda, Bo, Claire, lots of people. I quite find it interesting as well that these are all women. So he's targeting like a massive audience. He does have one guy in this, but these are women of all different ages. Like this woman looks like she's in her 30s and 40s. This woman looks like she's in like her early 20s. This guy looks like he's in his early 20s as well. So he's really reaching that wider kind of older and also kind of in their 20s plus audience. Very, very effective indeed. So pretty much after you've signed up, you then receive a couple of emails before that webinar goes live. So you'll receive an initial confirmation email on the sign up. And it basically kind of looks like this, where he says, basically what will be happening in the webinar. So on day one, you're going to be getting how to position your price and your services, how to pitch, how to leverage tools to do this. And I think this was pretty good. But what I saw as well is a couple of hours after that, you also receive what we call like a reply email. So he basically says, saw you sign up. What questions do you have about selling marketing services? And the reason why he does this is he wants you to reply to the email. So he ensures that this goes into your main inbox, because most emails can go into your spam. And the way that you kind of transition them out of that is if you get them to reply, because then the software treats it like you actually trust the recipient, the sender, right? But what I think would be more effective is he added this question at the start, because, if people, this could go into the spam and they'll never receive this email. So if he made this question at the start, this will increase the chances that they see the rest of the emails as well. Then pretty much after that, you'll receive some reminders. So 5 hours before, 3 hours before, and then 15 minutes before. And I think what he could do to improve these is make them more personalized, because he basically only had these automations set up with the software called Webinar Jam, and these feel very much like software-esque. They don't feel as personal as this one did. So if he changed this and made these more personal with an email and like actually in the style of him talking about it as a reminder, I think it would be more effective too. But yeah, pretty much once you go through these emails and you actually show up to the webinar is now live. And first of all, just to clarify, he's actually genuinely present at these webinars. It's not a pre-recorded video. He makes it really clear, shows off the time on his phone, and actually interacts with a live chat, which is really effective because it builds a bit of true communication engagement. It doesn't feel like you're just behind a screen. There's actually other people with you, and you can interact with Mason. He'll read your comment, reply to you, that kind of thing. So yeah, he starts off with setting the frame of the webinar, basically explains exactly how he was able to make 500, 600K a year, how he's helped thousands of people do it, and how it can be done in half the time, half the effort, and how you can capitalize on this AI kind of wave. And he starts off then with breaking down his journey. And it's really important that you do this in a webinar, because if you can take people through an emotional journey, people will always end up buying into that journey, into that process. So he really makes it clear that he's no one special. He's from where he's from, that he's not very clever. He wasn't, super smart. And he used to work in a crappy 9-to-5 job in a McDonald's and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, he then goes to making 4.5K, 10K, 20K, 48K, and $60,000 a month, really showing off his authority to people to trust him. But very sneakily, he then also shows off testimonials. He goes ahead and says, who is this guy? I'm not even that impressive. My students mock me now. So one of his students made $65,000 a month, beating him. Again, just showing proof of concept that what he teaches actually works for other people. Shows some more there as well. And then he reinforces why you should kind of be focused, go in a quiet place where you can lock in, open your notes app. This is all the reason why he's doing, because he wants to increase the retention and engagement so that people stay to the end when he actually pitches the offer. So after that, he again builds FOMO, saying AI copywriting is going to make millionaires. You're in it with me, or you're going to watch me and everyone else make money, kind of building a bit of FOMO. And then throughout that, he's intermittently showing off testimonials. So always making sure people have proof that what he's doing, it does work, subtly building trust with the audience. And then he also gives an incentive to get people to continue to stay on. This is really, really effective to put into a webinar. So he basically says there is a surprise at 7:52 p.m. and an even bigger one at 8:16 p.m. So he's really making sure that people do stay to the end of that webinar. Then he starts to kind of give value and actually like the what people technically showed up for, the value, breaking down the business model, exactly how you can get into it, how you can sign clients, how it works, how you can use AI to help you, how you can use the prompts, all that kind of thing. And then again, he is intermittently adding testimonials. It's really, really, really effective. And then throughout this, he's doing small bits to actually increase the engagement in the audience. So for example, has this been well spent so far? He actually asked the chat, type in 1 if this has been an engagement. Again, just checking the audience is actually active and making sure they are engaged with it and they don't get distracted. Then again, he reminds his audience he isn't special. He again puts in an emotional aspect to the webinar, showing that, him being depressed, smoking weed, him in university, showing off that he's not someone special, that he's someone that is just, that can also, someone like yourself can actually develop this skill and this lifestyle. So then he goes ahead and actually asks for permission to pitch. So he says, told you at the beginning that my job is to create more people more successful than me. And then he says, I have a special offer for you. Put a 1 in the chat if you want it. So he's pretty much asking for permission to pitch. And then from there, he goes into details about his offer, the Copy MBA Circle, exactly what you get inside. And then in the chat, a link drops, and this is where you can go ahead and book in a call. Massive green button here as well. And then from here, he just goes through all the details, everything that you get. And then he also adds a fast action bonus / offer. So he says, if you schedule that call tonight, you'll also get something for free. That does cost money, which is really, really effective because it will incentivize people to take action now because they'll be getting something that they normally wouldn't get for free. So very effective there as well. Then he also builds FOMO by saying there's only 50 slots. and there's only 50 new students he's going to accept. Very effective. And then he goes into showing more testimonials. And I thought this one was actually really, really effective and very emotional, because he basically, instead of just showing you a visual one and reading it out, he actually played a voice note from the testimonial person. And it was someone that was there was a woman in her 30s or 40s that was breaking down how she had gone through, she was an immigrant, she went through this whole entire process, and how Mason helped her out with becoming an AI copywriter. And I think this is really, really effective, because imagine in the audience, those 30, 40, 50-year-old mums that listen to this, and it feels very genuine, it feels very raw and real. So very, very effective indeed. Then just shows off more testimonials, and also a guarantee. Very effective, because this is people who are on the line thinking, I don't know, it's kind of risky for me. Well, he offers 100% money back guarantee if he doesn't help you sign one client. So also very effective too. Then whilst people are booking in, there will be still people that won't, will be on that kind of edge. Should I do this? Should I not do this? And they'll have some objections. And this is what this is doing here, is trying to handle those. So do I need money to get started? How do I need to be? Can I make this work if I'm in a 9-to-5? So basically this is really effective, because a lot of these guys will come in thinking, I've got a busy 9-to-5. Can I even handle this? And he really breaks that belief down. So he has a bunch of FAQs, kind of like 6, 7, 8, 9, I think he had in his webinar. Then after that, he just does a regular Q&A with people in the chat to really push over the line those last few people that still haven't booked in. And he even added a guest. I think this guy's called Sanjay, another copywriter that is quite established. So really kind of helping further answer anyone's questions. And he also even brought on a student as well. I thought this was really effective, because it was like a live conversation of him giving testimony to how effective Mason's help has been for him. So yeah, that's pretty much the webinar. So once you've actually gone ahead and booked in, I'll show you that entire process in a second. I just actually want to go ahead and break down the other opt-in pages. So when he's not running his webinars, he has the organic free training VSL landing page and the ad VSL landing page. So let's take a look at the organic one. So this is where all the organic traffic from his YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram will come to. And it says 24 million euro billionaire reveals how my students are making 10 to 20K a month online, and how you can do the same with no experience or marketing skills. So again, making sure that these are people that don't have to have experience, making sure they're in the right place. And before you get access to this free training, you have to go to an opt-in page once again. And the reason why he has this in place is so that you can then receive email marketing campaigns where he'll direct you to different parts of the funnel. So he might give you some value in an email, and at the end of that, he might say, go ahead and check out my new YouTube video where I break this down in more depth. And what this will do is further nurture people, and then there might be a CTA in that YouTube video to go ahead and book in a call. And so it's really, really effective that he captures these details very sneakily before people get access to the value. Then he also gets their phone number as well, because then they'll be added to a CRM, to a software where the sales team will then eventually call these people up and be like, try and book them in for a call and be like, okay, well, got you interested in, getting for this free training, man, and going through that whole process. So that's what that kind of bump there is before they get access to the training video. So once you do get access to it, it's pretty much a VSL. It's not actually, it's disguised as a free training, but it basically breaks down the AI copywriting business model, how he was able to make so much money with it, how he's helped so many other people get money with it, and how you can do the same thing in the whole offer behind it. So very effective kind of way at the moment of showing off a VSL. And then again, he just shows off a ton of results, and then you can go ahead and book in a call with the big blue button there. But just before I book in the book a call page, there is the ad VSL landing page as well. And notice the copy is a bit different because it's cold traffic, right? Notice how in the headline, it doesn't even mention AI copywriting, it doesn't even mention Cardinal Mason, right? It says, if you're watching this in August, obviously this will change depending on the date, it makes it really specific. You could have a profitable AI business by September 15th, right? And notice how he doesn't say copywriting, he just says AI business, because this is, people have this FOMO on AI right now, and he makes it clear that he can help you out with that. And this VSL pretty much goes into depth on how AI is going to take all these jobs, replace thousands of jobs, and how you can easily implement this AI copywriting into your side as a side hustle, or even as a full-time thing, and escape that 9-to-5 and lead a life of freedom. And he does this really effectively and shows off a lot of results as well to, again, just build that FOMO that people are actually capitalizing on this and that they should too. Then again, just once again, showing off tons and tons of results. So once again, you can go ahead and apply for that coaching, and you're taken to this type form here where there's a couple of questions that he asks. So, time questions, do you have like basic commitment? Asks for your goal, then asks for your pain, then for your email. And this is obviously that he can actually contact and reach out to you, so send you the details for that call. Then he takes your name, email, and your phone number. And then basically, the reason why this is effective to put it here and not at the start, because a lot of creators end up putting this at the start, it builds a ton of friction. Like having to fill out your email, your phone number is always a frictionful process. And so by doing this at the front, people won't get through the whole form and won't end up submitting it. So it's really effective that he does this kind of further down the line. What I do think he should remove is this question, because questions like this, especially after they put in their details, are only going to add more friction and increase the drop-off rate, because you actually have to type something in. It's way more effective, and we've seen this with our other clients that we've worked with, just to have like multiple choice questions, because it's so much easier to do. You don't have to type something out. So even though he's trying to build commitment here by telling people, why do you think you're a good fit for us, I think it'd be more effective just to remove this or just make this a multiple choice question. Then most importantly, the most important reason why this type form is in place is to financially qualify people. And basically, he asks them how much money they have, because obviously you want to make sure that the people that are jumping on the sales calls, all the tons of people that he's generating, can actually afford this program, and they're not wasting the sales reps' time. So he asks them how much money they have, and if they have $500 in this option A, they're going to be DQ'd. They won't be given access to the closer. But if they have anything above, then they will. And even if you have 500 to 2K, so where you basically say, I can invest, but I need a payment plan, he makes this very clear that you can do this. So when he says payment plan, he means splitting up the payment over time. And this can be either just splitting up 2K 4 times over 4 months, or even using a payment provider like Klarna, Affirm, or Split It. And what these firms do is they allow you as the creator to get the paid in full. So let's say you're charging someone 5K, but the prospect only has $1,000 and they can't afford any more upfront. What that payment provider will do is they will then charge that person interest over a couple months. Let's say they pay $200 a month for like 24 months, right? And they'll make sure that the lead will pay that in full. But you as the merchant, you as the creator, will get that paid in full amount, which is really, really sick, because it means you can generate a ton of cash on even technically broke leads that don't have liquid cash available. So really, really effective there as well. Then the last question is just building a bit of commitment, and then you're given access to a calendar lead to go ahead and book in a call with the closer. Now, pretty much after you've gone ahead and booked that in, you'll then be redirected to this page, which is a pre-call video. And what this does is it kind of sets the frame for what's going to happen before that call. It congratulates you on booking in, and it lets you know that someone from their team will reach out to you. And this is the triager, a very important role that they play, and I'll break this down in a second. And he also tells you to go through the pre-call process in terms of going through the testimonials that you receive by your emails as well. Then again, he has a bunch of pre-handling common objections. So what is AI? Why should I start now? Do I need capital? How do I sign clients? How much time do I need per week? What does the actual work look like? Breaks all of this down and adds more results, more in-depth results. How Kevin got 31K per month in 8 months, 30K in 4 months. Really massive testimonials, which is just going to build a ton of FOMO and trust, because people actually are making a lot of money from this process. So really, really effective indeed. So pretty much after you've booked in from either the webinar, the opt-in page, or whatever, you're then pretty much everything is handled by automations and the sales team. So if we have a look at this, after you've submitted that application and booked in a call, you will receive a call from a setter within 2 hours, ideally within 5 to 10 minutes, because speed to lead is incredibly important. Because if you don't capitalize on this and you have really slow and undialed sales team, you're going to miss out on a ton of revenue, because a lot of these leads will no-show, and they'll no-show, they'll never end up picking up, and they'll just waste spots on your calendar. So ideally, you want to do this within 5 to 10 minutes. And then pretty much once they pick up, the setter will run a triage and double qualify the lead. It is pretty much a 5 to 10 minute conversation where they build some initial discovery, some pain, and most importantly, financially qualify the lead. Because on that form I showed you before where they talk about how much money you have, a lot of these leads may lie. And so what this does is it does a manual double qualifying of that lead, make sure that they find out specifically how much money they have. I actually went ahead and made a video where I broke down a pre-call process that we implemented into one of our clients that helped generate $116,000 in cash in 1 month. And I broke down this entire process, how the triaging works, and all the other different things you can add. It's very similar to this here. So go ahead and watch that video if you want to implement this to generate similar amounts and have a super high sharp rate and a high close rate before people jump onto that call. But pretty much after the triage, and if they're good to go and they are qualified, they're giving access to the closer, they'll then make sure that they sent over the VSL and they've actually watched it, because this means that they understand the offer, they understand what works, that it's worked for other people. Then a group chat will be made with the closer on either Instagram or WhatsApp. This just increases the sharp rate, another touch point with that lead, and also increases the authority of the closer. Then you'll receive pretty much some automated reminders, some SMS and email reminders 24 hours before, 48 hours before, depending on when you booked in. And then manually a setter will call the lead up 1 hour before that call starts. And then the link is also sent in the group chat once the call is live. Now, there's a couple of situations that can happen once the call is live. They either close, and if they close, obviously that means you collect cash, the deal is closed, happy days. But two things can happen if they don't close. Now, they might either no-show, right? They don't even show up to the call in the first place. And then what will happen is the setter will dial that lead up every day for 7 days in a row to try and recoup them back onto that sales call. And if they no-close for whatever reason, time issue, whatever the objection might be, the lead will get nurtured over time and will eventually probably be recouped by a sales rep and be dialed up a couple weeks after that no-close event. So yeah, that's pretty much the process that happens. What they'll also have in place as well is this sales tracking sheet. So basically every lead that jumps on the call, they'll have the date, the name of the lead, the type of close, if it was a PIF, if it was a half payment deposit, and then the cash collected, the revenue, and the name of the closer, and then any notes. And the reason why they do this is because it's really important to track a ton of data. Like, because with this information, you can track the close rate, the no-show rate, the deals lost, the deals closed, all of which is incredibly important for understanding what is the bottleneck in the business. So we do this with our clients. We have extremely precise tracking sheets. We track the show rate, the cash-based AOV, the average sets per day, the lead to booking rate, the outbound lead to booking rate, literally everything from the setters team to the DM setters to the dialers to the closers. We track absolutely everything. We can see the variation in performance between the different closers. We can see who is the bottleneck, what piece of data is the bottleneck. For example, if the show up rate is really bad, is it an issue with our setters and speed to lead? Or if there's an issue with the close rate, is it the sales rep's issue or is it a marketing issue with the content? And this is all going to be useful with all the notes that we get. And we use all of this to make data-driven decisions. These are incredibly important to making any sort of decision with a business. And this only starts with actually tracking the data and then understanding it with all of this. So we implement this with our clients. But pretty much that is everything that is being used in Cardinal Mason's funnel to achieve that $500,000 per month. And if you're a creator and you want help implementing these systems into your business, then just go ahead and book a call down below or message me on Instagram for any questions you might have. And I'll come in and take a look at your current business right now and see what you could optimize. Maybe if you need help implementing a webinar funnel or an opt-in funnel, I'll come in and teach and show you how you can implement this. And let's say if you're a creator that doesn't have a coaching business right now and you want to start it up and you have a high income skill that you want to monetize, but you have some audience that you want to sell to, then also just go ahead and book in a call down below and I'll be able to help you out as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Take care and peace.